case studies in freelancing. Okay, so in this video, we want to give a little bit of an example. We want to talk about what the hirer's perspective is in terms of why they hire people, what sort of jobs they hire for, and then ultimately that'll give you a little bit more insight into why people hire and what these jobs are that are available. So why don't we get into it? Okay, so on this first slide, we want to talk about the hirer perspective. So in this case study, we're going to talk about what is a hirer thinking when they say, gosh, I want to hire a freelancer instead of someone on a regular employment basis. So let's go into it. So I'm a hirer right now. Let's pretend that. And I'm thinking, gosh, freelancers provide something that's beneficial to my business. So here are the 6 things that I'm thinking of. So number 1 is, gosh, freelancers really provide flexible hiring. Whenever I have a job, whenever I have a need, I can hire specifically for that specific skill or that experience. So I can bring in the absolute expert to handle whatever that problem might be. It gives me that flexibility as opposed to hiring someone that perhaps a problem arises and they're not the best person to solve it. Freelancers give me that flexibility. The second thing is, gosh, freelancers give me a guaranteed performance. If the person is really, really good, I can hire them for more. I can give them another contract. If the person's just average or they're somewhere below average, very easy to get rid of them, to fire them if the work is subpar. A freelancer gives me a lot of flexibility to guarantee really, really good performance. The third is no employment benefits. So as an employer, it's really expensive to hire someone full-time. You have to give them medical. You have to contribute to their retirement. You have to pay additional taxes for their employment. All kinds of different benefits in order to hire someone on a more permanent basis. In addition, there's costs. So if you maintain an office, you have to give them equipment. They're occupying part of that office. There's all kinds of different costs in terms of hiring somebody. So it's really good to really just hire someone. You pay them a defined rate, and there you go. You can budget exactly how much it costs in order to hire that person. The fourth is high motivation. So we always know that a freelancer is going to give you extra motivation because, number 1, it's their business. They want to make sure that their business maintains a really good reputation, and that, of course, you're going to continue to hire them as time goes on. In addition, you're going to write reviews after the fact. So their motivation to please you, to do great work, is going to be a lot higher. The fifth is ease of hiring. So it's a lot more difficult to hire someone full-time because it's a big investment, both on your part as well as the person who ultimately would take that job. It's a lot easier to hire someone, let's say, for 3 weeks. Not as big a commitment financially, not as big a commitment in terms of duration, not as much investigation needs to go into their background. In addition, there's a lot of marketplaces that really allow for a quick, inexpensive hire. You post a job, a bunch of people apply, and you hire them for whatever that duration might be. Much, much easier in terms of hiring, in terms of cost, in terms of the duration and process of which you would hire. Finally, as a hirer, you're thinking, gosh, the location possibilities are endless. You can hire people from around the world. It doesn't have to be someone local that sits in your office. When you're hiring a freelancer, you can hire from any country, from any area of the world. You could even set it up where people are always working because of the time zone differences. Location possibilities are really, really attractive from a hirer's perspective. So there you go. There's a lot more reasons to hire freelancers. And of course, there's cons as well to it. But these are generally why people are looking at the freelancers as opposed to hiring someone full-time. So hopefully that gives you some good perspective as to if you're deciding to become a freelancer, well, why are these people posting these jobs? Those are some of the reasons. Now, to illustrate this a little bit further, I'm going to use some of my own examples. I've hired a lot of freelancers to do a variety of different jobs. I'm going to tell you about 2 of them, so it gives you a little bit better indication as to what happens when you hire somebody. So let's start with case number 1. So in this instance, my requirement was I needed a design for the banner of my website. I wanted the first thing that people saw when they clicked on reversetide.com is to see something that was really meaningful, something that looked attractive and really represented my brand. So what did I do? I said, gosh, I can't create something myself. I don't have graphic design capability. So I decided I want to hire somebody. But I didn't need to hire someone full-time to do one image. I wanted to hire somebody that had the skill set, that could do it quickly, and someone that was going to be short-term. So what was my budget there? I thought, gosh, doing a little bit of research, I found $50 per image was a fair price to pay in order to get a really good artist, but also to do something that was customized to my brand. So what happened in this case? There's a lot of different ways I could have gone about hiring, but in this instance, I decided DeviantArt was a really good place to look. I could find people whose style, the colors that they used, the representations that they used in their imagery that would be consistent with my brand. So I went to DeviantArt, I looked over a lot of different portfolios, and I found someone whose designs I absolutely loved. Every single piece of work that they did was really, really cool. I liked the way it looked, and I liked the way that they really had different styles for kind of everything that they did. So what did I do? I emailed them directly. I said, gosh, I love your work, and I offered them a job. I offered to pay them $50 per image. And once we did it, of course, we wrote up a contract. I gave them my specifications. I showed them my website, told them all the colors I liked, all the styles I liked. And at the end of the day, this is what they created. You can see that on the right. Something that looks really cool. And this is, of course, what you see if you go to my website. So there you go. Case number 1 was a success. I paid only $50 and I got something that was really well needed. Okay, so case number 2. In this instance, my requirement was I needed a lot of research done. Education is a really big component of Reverse Tide. And what we do is we take an educational topic. In this example, we're talking about marketing. So within marketing, where are all the different places you can learn about marketing topics? What are the different courses, the websites, the resources, all the different things that will teach people how to learn marketing and how to ultimately do that within their career? So I needed someone to research all the different options out there, someone from a marketing background that really understood a lot of these resources. So that's what I did. And the way that I decided to do this is I went on Upwork.com. I find that to be a really good marketplace where you can find a lot of great talent. So I posted a job. I said I needed research within the marketing field. And I specified kind of all the different details, what the budget was, what the timeline was, and any of the other requirements that I had. In this case, my budget was an hourly rate. I knew that research is not a fixed project. I couldn't say, gosh, I can only spend $50. So I designated what an hourly rate that would be reasonable for research would be, and I put that job up. When it was all said and done, what did I find? I used a lot of different freelancing sites. So Upwork.com was the most common one. I posted that job and I asked for research. I got a lot of applicants because research is not the most skilled job in the world, so there's a lot of people that were capable and willing to do it. So people would apply and they would send their resume, they would send a summary of their skills, they would apply based on an hourly rate, and then any questions I had, they would answer. So based on that application, I'd get a bunch of resumes, and what ended up happening, I hired a bunch of researchers. So you can see a screenshot of my page right now for marketing. And that's ultimately what they did. They found course content on all of the different subjects that you see there. And I was able to take all the research that they did, filter it, and ultimately create my site based on that. So it was a really, really successful project because, gosh, that was a lot of work that needed to be done to do not only marketing in this instance, but all the different skills that you find on Reverse Tide. Really, really helpful to hire someone on that temporary basis to do a job that required a lot of hours of work and a lot of expertise on each of the different subjects. So there you go, 2 case studies of instances where I hired freelancers. These were both success ones. Of course, there's other ones that were a bit less successful, but at the end of the day, freelancing really, really helped me develop my own business. And you can take those case studies and you can apply them to all the different skills, all the different functions that a freelancer might perform, because freelancing is such a big business today. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you. It gives you a hirer's perspective, both in terms of what they're looking for, why they want a freelancer, and some of the different jobs that they ultimately do. Hope that helps, and hope that gives you a really good introduction to a freelancing gig.